Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Teen Talk with your girl, Kelly. Carson will probably be joining us later. But listen, while we're here, go ahead, like this video, share it on your Facebook, share it on YouTube, hit the thumbs up on YouTube, tag a teen in this video as we continue our series on Teen Talk. So go ahead, like, share, comment. We're going live as we continue our Teen Talk series, TikTok. So come on in the room and welcome to Teen Talk TikTok Week 3. So if you have a TikTok account, then you have seen where people do duets on their TikTok accounts. So duets are a part of the TikTok experience. Think of it as remixing a song. Users can take another person's video and they can add to it. And so I have some duets from TikTok that I want y'all to watch, and I want you to vote and see which one you like best. All right, here's video duet number 1.
Current karaoke level pretty hard.
Man, need your man. Man. Can your man. Wait, why do I keep saying man?
So that's a pretty hard one to do, probably. So that was video number 1, the song Woman or whatever they were singing. Okay, y'all ready for video number 2? Here is duet number 2.
What's your name?
Hazel.
And what's your full name?
Hazel Grace Lancaster.
What?
I didn't say anything.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you're beautiful.
Oh my god.
I enjoy looking at beautiful people.
Now that was a good one. They actually looked like they were having a conversation. So we have one more. So you saw video number 1 with the romance song, and video number 2 was him talking to the girl. They talked to each other, whatever. Here is the last video, duet number 3.
So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, do you hear people calling me to answer? Better keep on keeping on.
Now that was cool. The boy was actually singing a soprano note. So let me know, which video do you like? Video number 1, duet number 2, or duet number 3? Cam, you say number 2? Yeah, that was the bomb. Video number 2 was the bomb. So hey everyone, and welcome to another week of Teen Talk. We are so excited to be here with you on tonight, and we are ready to jump back into our current series, TikTok. So once again, this series is about looking at a social media app and talking about how our faith is bigger than the challenges we face in our lives. So we're also talking about how we can make God more popular than ourselves, how we can unite with others in harmony, and how we can be a positive influence on those around us. So as we continue in this series, it is our hope that you can come to know more about your faith and God's purpose for you. And that even something that seems so small, like a social media app, can be a big impact on the world around us. So let's jump right into our lesson for today. So anybody on here, you ever had like some close friends that you experienced drama with? So I remember a time, I think I might have been in high school. By the time when I was in middle school, we had like this close circle of friends. And something happened in high school, and for one reason or another, me and my best friend, we kind of fell out with the rest of our friends. I don't know what happens. We just wasn't talking to each other. But one day, one of the girls wrote each of us a letter, apologizing and saying how she missed us and how we should reconnect. And so after that, after all that drama, once she wrote that letter, we kind of squashed all the beef, and we all, started hanging out again. So I'm sure that you have been there before. I have known some friends who have not gotten, who have gotten caught up in some type of drama with each other or with another friend or going through maybe a bad breakup in a relationship. Maybe you've helped them through it or they helped you through some drama. So what you experience is that, drama happens when our emotions are high. When we feel played or we get angry or we feel some type of way and our emotions are up here and we can't think straight, and that's when the drama starts. So when our feelings are not validated or when they get hurt or attacked, we build a defense in our emotions. So, and when that happens, we get angry with whoever the person may be that made us feel that way, and that's when the drama begins. So on TikTok, there are more than just funny videos, singing duets, and people sharing life hacks. There are some people that respond to mean comments from their previous videos or videos of crazy stuff happening in their community, or people sharing their thoughts and opinions about a topic that they feel threatened by. So we also see those type of videos on social media. And what's interesting is seeing how much on the defense people can get about any little thing. Somebody don't like your video, and then all of a sudden you make another video responding to that person's comments, is going off and going on and on and on and on about it. You may have got, caught yourself watching a video about an issue. Maybe you watch a video for us Black people about, police brutality against another Black person, or police killing another Black person, and we watch that video and our emotions get high. Or you watch something that make you feel emotionally responsive or emotionally invested because you can relate to what the video is about. When we get wrapped up in these videos or we get wrapped up in drama in real life, the drama can cloud our focus. And that's one thing that we have to think about. When we get caught up in this drama and, our emotions get high, then our focus is clouded. We can't think clearly. We can't see clearly, right? The drama that my friends and I faced clouded our ability to work past our issues and keep our friendship. It was probably something really, I don't even remember. That's how small it was. So because our emotions were high and, all that other stuff, it clouded our ability to work past whatever issue it was. Because all my friends, we've been friends since elementary school, because when I was in school, we couldn't just switch schools and hop and go to whatever school we want to. So we all kind of grew up together in school. So we go through it. But if my friend would have not written that note, we probably would not have remained friends ever, because that's just how it was. So the same true with a lot of videos on social media today. We see a video and we get wrapped up in how it makes us feel more than what it is actually about and how we might be able to respond. And so whether it is a video or an experience you have had in your life, we want to talk to you a bit tonight about drama. Hey, Nene, what's up? We want to talk to you a bit tonight about drama. So especially when it comes to TikTok, because this is something that we see all the time in this app. And not just on TikTok, if you're on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, you see it on all these platforms, right? So people watch videos or they read bad comments and then they respond by posting another video in retaliation about that other video. And then the cycle begins, because you retaliate with a video, then another person come back with another video, and this person come back with another video. And it's just like a continuous cycle, and if we're not careful, we can find ourselves in some pretty serious situations, right? Or better yet, we may say or do something that may reflect our emotions about it more than reflecting God's character at that moment. So we'll get emotional and we'll respond how we want to respond, and then we forget that we're supposed to be representing God, and now God's character is out the window and we just going off, we going hard, we going ham on whoever the person is or whatever the situation is. So let's talk today about how we can stay clear of that drama and focus on how we can have a drama-free life that is focused on God and God's plans for our lives. So last week, we continued looking at Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and how Jesus began changing the narrative for both the Jewish citizens and the religious leaders who were listening. Who can come in and tell me a little bit about that? So we talked about, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Jesus wasn't about, pushing that same old narrative that they were used to. He came to change it. and to tell the people that they needed to, they needed to hear that they are somebody, they are special, they are loved, they are seen, and how God desired for them to live. Just because you may be in a certain situation right now, that don't have to be your end. That doesn't have to be your narrative. With God on your side, you can change the narrative of your life. You may grow up in the projects, you may live in the hood, you may not have all of the designers and the best things in life, but that doesn't have to be your narrative. God wishes above all things that we will prosper, be in good health, and that our souls will prosper. And one thing he said, if you seek ye first the kingdom of God, which I'm glad you're on here tonight, because this is part of seeking God's kingdom, then all that other stuff is going to be added to you anyway. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to, be caught up in all that other stuff, because God desires for you to live blessed, live a happy life, a holy life. So Jesus wasn't about pushing that narrative, okay? So he came to change that narrative, tell people that, the way that God wanted them to live, which was in a way that honored God and reflected his character. All right? He pushed the envelope of their regular society. Yeah, that's right. So not many people, especially religious leaders, will focus on living their life the way that God wanted them to live. And think about it, we're talking about the religious leaders, but they were the ones that were full of drama, right? So as Jesus begins his ministry, he focuses on helping people see how they can live a different narrative and live one that cares for others instead of just themselves, right? So let's look at what Jesus said in Luke. We've been in Luke chapter 6 this whole series. So let's look at what Jesus continued to say in Luke chapter 6. Now be ready to hear some really good stuff that is still applicable to today's world and still applicable to our lives today. So this is what Jesus said in Luke chapter 6, verses 27 through 31. It says, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To the one who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from the one who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who begs from you, and from one who takes away your goods, do not demand them back. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them." In the first passage, we see Jesus teaching on loving your enemies. What Jesus is saying was a ridiculous concept in that day, because nobody was about to love their enemies in those days. That's just not how their system worked. That isn't how the people were. Even the regular citizens. If you did good things from someone, then you received good things. If you hurt someone's feelings or made a mistake, then they would retaliate with whatever was customary to the Jewish law and custom. So if you steal from me, I was coming to chop off your hand, right? If you lie to me or you lie or something, then I'm chopping off your tongue. That's how the culture was back then. It was eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, right? That's how it was back then. So they wasn't thinking about how Jesus wanted them to live. They thought they were living according to, the Bible. They thought that was fair, right? That's how they saw it. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But Jesus came and he changed that narrative. He's telling you now to love your enemies. Do good by those who persecute you. Do good by those who talk about you, and all that other good stuff, right? So never did someone love their enemy or love someone who had wronged them. In those days, that was just a ridiculous concept. The 32nd verse, let me back up. 32nd verse of Luke chapter 6. It says, "If you love those who love you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that to you? And if you do good to those who do good to you, what benefit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to get back the same amount. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. and you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and evil. Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. So in the second passage, Jesus speaks on the same concept, but in a different way. He tells the crowd how important it is to love your enemies and that doing good for your enemies has a much, much greater impact than doing good for friends. So anybody, y'all ever heard of the golden rule? Let me know, put a thumbs up in the comments if you heard of the golden rule. But, this was not the case for the people living in the first century. To them, the golden rule never existed. If you did something bad, then something bad happened to you. If you did something good, then something good will happen to you in return. That's the way they live. That's the way they believe. So as Jesus keeps teaching, people are in awe of what he is saying, because what he is saying is very different from the way that they were used to living their lives. And Jesus was doing more than just talking about the things that were countercultural to them. He was also introducing them to a way of life that God wanted for them. So Jesus knew that this would shock them, because this ain't the way they used to live, and these not the rules that they follow. So he knew it would be a culture shock for them. But let's look at one final part of this passage. So let's look at 6 and 37. It says, "Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you use, it will be measured to you." So now that's something good, right? Jesus is really starting to get into their heads, and he's beginning to shake things up in their lives. For so long, people were so used to looking and pointing fingers at other people. Well, now what Jesus is doing is telling them to look at yourself. A lot of times, we point the finger at other people, and, we want to see the bad in other people. But Jesus is saying, no, stop pointing the finger at everybody else and begin to look at yourself, right? So Jesus is forcing them to reflect upon their own actions. Even further, he's also telling them not to judge others, or, so you won't be judged. And they knew that they did not want to get judged by God. Who want to get judged by God, right? So he continues in verse 39. It says, "Can a blind man lead a blind man? Will they both not fall into a pit? A disciple is not above the teacher. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but do not see the log in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Brother, let me take out the speck in your eye,' when yourself do not see the log in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck that is in your brother's eye." So what Jesus is saying here, Jesus tells the people, look at your own faults. You so busy worrying about how I talk, what I look like, what I'm dressed like, what I'm doing, when you can't see the mess that you're doing. You can't see your own jacked up self. You're a hypocrite. You want to talk about me, right, when you're doing worse things than I am. That's what a hypocrite is. So when you look at your own faults, that's when you realize you are being exactly what you're criticizing others. And you get a pretty big dose of humility. Why? Because you realize that what you have picked at and poked at in other people is the very same thing you're doing yourself. That's what happens in most cases. So don't poke at the speck in their eye when you have a big log in your own eye. Don't pick at something so small in someone else's behavior when you are doing the same thing or saying things way worse than they say. You are being a hypocrite when you do those type of things. So this is what Jesus is saying to the people, mainly to the religious leaders who were standing right there with them. He knew that they were the logs, the church people, they were the logs, and the people were just the specks. And he wanted things to change. Things needed to change. People needed to change. Why? Because God desires for us to live in harmony with each other, not in conflict. So Jesus came to bring hope. He came to bring peace. He came to bring joy. Not more disunity, not more war, and a bigger separation in the social classes. That's not what Jesus was about. The society was already messed up in how they treated each other. They stepped over each other and tried to bring down anyone they thought was better than them. And the religious leaders and the Pharisees were the main participant in this type of environment. They love to do that. You know, they didn't care about others or how badly they themselves were acting. But when other people acted up, or when someone else did something they should have done, then that person was in trouble. Think about the woman that was caught in adultery. You know, the church people drug her to Jesus. You know, they say, oh, we caught this lady in adultery. And Jesus just said, you know, he that's without sin cast the first stone. And nobody could throw a stone, right? So Jesus teaches them how they can live peacefully and without so much conflict, without so much drama. You know, Jesus is calling them to live differently. He calling them to live in a way that is, you know, counter to the culture that they were used to. You know, how can we do that in our lives today? Because let's face it, things haven't changed that much. People haven't changed that much. We still have drama today. We can still have drama with other people. We can still have drama with our friends, with our classmates, with our teammates, with our family, whoever, right? So we still judge others by saying things behind their back that are not so nice or God-honoring. We still point out faults at others when we are guilty of the same thing, probably ourselves, or probably even more guilty. So take, for example, this megaphone. You know, we like to call out issues that other people have. We'll say it loud over the loudspeaker. You know, this person is stupid. This person's shirt ugly. This person hair nappy. This person, you know, don't smell good. This person breath stink. Blah, blah, blah. This person chew gum too loud. You know, we like to be the ones that point out the faults in other people. You know, we like to be the ones to point out the things in other people that may not be so great. You know, and that can create more drama. Or we like to join on in it, even though we may not start it. You know, we like to join in on the drama. So we feel like we're a part of something, you know, but we're just causing more drama and more stress to everyone and more stress to ourselves when we do that. So we could choose to have drama with others, drama with our friends, drama with our classmates, drama with our teammates by calling out the things that we don't like we did, you know, like in a megaphone. Or, you know, we can choose to judge others. We can choose to say things behind other people's back that are not nice. We can choose to say things behind people's back that are not God-honoring. You know, we can still choose to point out the faults in others when we know that we are guilty of some of the same things that we're pointing out in other people. Or what we could do is choose not to live with drama and instead choose to be more like Jesus around us. You know, how can we do that? First thing we must do, we must choose to care. We must choose to care for those who are difficult. We must choose to care for those who are not so nice. Care for those who are mean. Care for those who are evil. Care for our enemies. Choose to care for those who are hard to love. You know, when we respond out of care and compassion, it can help others feel like they are seen and help them feel heard. You know, instead of calling them out on a megaphone or on a loudspeaker for everybody to hear, or making a video on TikTok about this person, that person, and another person. You know, we can handle it like a phone call, right? Everyone likes getting a phone call from somebody they know, or a text message these days for you young people. You know, it's nice to feel like someone wants to call us or someone wants to talk to us, or text, you know, if that's your thing. Either way, it's a personal line of communication, whereas the megaphone is more like a public broadcast that others can hear. Everybody around us can hear. So when you call that person, even if you don't agree on things or someone, you know, says something to the other person that was not nice, handling it in a way that it's like a phone call versus a megaphone can calm down the drama. You know, ask them what is going on. Choose to care about them more than what they did. Choose to care about them more than what they said. You know, Jesus is a big example of this. The Pharisees called out people on their faults. They called out people on their issues. They called out the people that were, you know, of a low status in society. But Jesus met them in a way that was close, personal, and chose to care for them rather than to judge them. So even when someone is mean, showing kindness towards them can, you know, help them open up and hopefully share with you what's bothering them. And it can lead to an opportunity to share God's love and an opportunity to share God's grace with that person. Caring for our friends is easy. That comes natural, automatic. Caring for someone who is not your friend or caring for someone who is judgmental or rude is hard, but it is necessary if we want to be more like Jesus. So the first thing we got to do is choose to care on purpose. The next thing we have to do is choose to reflect. Reflect on how our actions may have been wrong before judging someone else's. This is extremely hard to do, but it's also extremely humbling. Imagine instead of you being the one holding the megaphone, someone else is holding it and saying that those things that you say about other people, they're saying it about you. They're making TikTok videos about you. They're making posts and comments about you, right? If they did, what would they say about you? I'm sure we all can think of a couple things that somebody may have to say about us that's not so nice. But the point isn't to pick out the specks in everybody else's eye. That's not our job. We're not here to judge. We're not here to point out everybody else's fault. That's not for us to do. However, our culture makes it seem like it is. Like society almost demands that we record everything and post it on social media, right? But Jesus doesn't need you or us or anybody else to point the finger at nobody. God is the one who ultimately will judge all of us based on our actions and behaviors. It's our job to care for others and seek forgiveness for how we have fallen short. So when we do that, it can prevent a lot of drama from taking place in our lives, and it can prevent pride from getting in our way. It will keep our lives from being about the issues we create and more about the God whose truth gives us life, gives us meaning, and gives us purpose. So the bottom line, a drama-free life is focused on God and God's truth, not you and not your opinions and not your emotions. So don't be about the drama. Don't point the finger at other people when you are doing things wrong yourself, right? Choose to care for the hard people, the people that's hard to love. Choose to care for the difficult people in your life. Choose to care for your enemies. And then also reflect on your own actions. You may be in a situation or you may have drama or beef with somebody else, but think about how your actions was wrong in the situation and how you could have possibly de-escalated the situation just by calming down and not letting your high emotions cloud your focus, right? So don't get caught up in strong emotions and strong opinions. We all have them. We all have emotions. We all have strong opinions about certain situations and about certain people, and we want to share them and throw them at people. But how effective is that really? How effective is it for me to make a TikTok video talking about somebody else? How effective is that, or does that make things worse, right? So there will be things that you feel very passionate about that other people may not feel as passionate about, or things that bother you that others don't feel, they need to respond to in that same way. So before you speak or judge or share a thought, pause and think about how Jesus would have responded. Y'all remember those little bracelets and stuff that said, what would Jesus do? Sometimes you just need to pause, stop before you respond, before you open your mouth, before you go off, and reflect on how Jesus would handle the situation, right? Then choose to care and reflect. Even when the people are not nice or when they do things to upset you, choose to care and choose to reflect. Paul writes to a church that was divided against itself in Ephesians 4:1-3. He said, I therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. These are good words. He says, with all humility, with gentleness, with patience, bearing one another in love, and maintaining unity. I think giving those things to others is much, much, much more better than creating drama. So from this day forward, what we're going to do is we're not going to let high emotions or we're not going to let, anger cloud our focus. We're going to choose to care for people even when it's difficult, even when we don't want to. And we're going to choose to reflect on our own actions before we start pointing the finger at somebody else. So put that finger down, okay? Stop pointing the finger at other people, especially when all of us, the Bible says, all have sinned, all have fallen short. So nobody have the right to say or point the finger at nobody else because we all need grace. We all need God's forgiveness. We all need to feel the love of God. So from this day forward, I don't want to see nobody making TikTok videos going off on somebody else. I don't want to see none of that because we're going to choose to change the narrative and live more like Christ. We're going to start responding how Christ would respond. Okay? And that was tonight's lesson. So we're going to close it out on next week. We're going to close out our TikTok series. So make sure you come back next week at 6:00 so we can close out this TikTok series. So listen, we got a few things coming up that I want to tell you guys about. We got our Connect group on this Sunday at 5:00. We're going to meet at Showers of Blessing at 5:00. Listen, if you have not RSVP, make sure if you're in the Blaze, you RSVP in the band app. If you text the SBYouth to 55498, make sure you respond to the message that was blasted out and saying, let me know that you're coming because we got to get the food. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about life issues and how we can apply God's word to the things that we're dealing with as teenagers, young adults. So Connect group this Sunday, 5:00 at Showers of Blessing, Deliverance Temple. Also, we have practices for all ages every Tuesday, 5:15 to 7:15. Y'all, come out and be a part of the things that we have going on, especially since we have our annual takeover conference coming up in July 28th through the 30th. It's going to have a concert that Friday night with Minister Zacharias Washington, and we're going to have D. Wade the Christian. Our apostle-elect lady will be in the building. We got our Elder Carson Boys that's going to bring the word on that Sunday. At our block party, we're going to have DJ Bam. We're going to have a gaming truck. We're going to have free food, whatever, games, entertainment. We're going to have Godly Three Actors that's going to be performing at our Teen Talk that Saturday morning. So it's Friday night, 7 p.m. will be our concert. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. will be our Teen Summit in our Kids Corner, where we will have all kinds of speakers that'll be coming in to pour into the kids' life. We're going to have our block party that will be at 1 p.m. right after the Teen Summit in Kids Corner. At the block party is where we'll give out all of the free school supplies. We're going to have, like I said, games, entertainment. Everything's free the whole weekend. And then we're going to close it out that Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for our takeover service. Y'all know how our takeover service get down, so I don't even need to talk too much about that. Also at that service, we're going to have our youth baptisms. Anybody that's a member of Showers of Blessing and want to get baptized, you can come out to our classes. It's going to be Tuesdays in July, the last 3 Tuesdays in July, 7:30 to 8:15. But I need you to register for that class. We'll have the forms in the foyer of the church for you to pick up, sign up, make sure you get your parents to sign. But listen, this is not about, getting in the water or none of that stuff. This is a commitment that you're making to God saying, I'm living for God. I'm giving my life to Christ, and I'm making the decision from this day forward to live for him and do my best. Not saying that you will be perfect, but you're saying that I'm giving my life to him and I'm going to choose to live for him. And I also want to shout out a few of our sponsors that we have so far for the conference. Coca-Cola's donating all the drinks for the block party. Children's Circus Project, they donate school supplies, book sacks, iPads, gift cards every year. The Children's Circus Projects donate those. Raising Cane's is giving free kids meals to everybody that attend the conference. Supreme Impact, one of our continual donators. A-Shaw with cement contractors. Hit them up if you need any type of driveway, foundation, slab, whatever. Louisiana Dental Center have donated toothbrushes, floss, and toothpaste to everybody that registered. Chick-fil-A is bringing nuggets, I think, to the block party. Regan Nicole donating uniforms and some more supplies for the conference. Mr. Fox Design going to print our shirt. So if you need a shirt made, printed, whatever, hoodie, I think you can do cups, whatever you need, you can hit up Mr. Fox Designs. So make sure the registration goes out tomorrow. So make sure you look for that link, looking for it on Facebook, look for it in your email messages, look for it in your text messages if you're a member of Shop's Blessing, and get registered. The deadline for anybody that want to sponsor is at the end of July. That's also will be the deadline for anybody that want to register, because we want to make sure that we have all the supplies and the book sacks ready to go, because we don't just give out a book sack with a piece of paper and a pencil in it. We actually pull the kids' school supplies and stuff those book sacks, because ain't no sense of giving you stuff that you don't need and then you still got to go out and buy more supplies. So make sure y'all register for that. All right. So that's it for tonight, y'all. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all tune in next week, same time, 6:00, as we close out this TikTok Teen Talk series, y'all. Be blessed. Until next time, peace.